Hey, you see, the way you look at life, your perspective, has the power to change everything. It can turn setbacks into stepping stones, failures into lessons, and problems into possibilities. Most people go through life believing that their circumstances dictate their future, that they're stuck with whatever hand they've been dealt. But that's not true. It's not the situation that defines you. It's how you choose to see it. Think about it. Two people can face the exact same challenge. One crumbles under the pressure while the other rises above it. One sees a dead end, the other sees a doorway. It's not the external reality that's different, it's what's happening inside their mind. That's where the battle is fought and won. Because if you can shift the way you think, you can shift the way you live. Some of you are going through struggles right now. Maybe you're facing rejection, maybe you've lost something important, maybe you feel like you've been knocked down one too many times. And it's easy to start believing that this is just how life is. Hard, unfair, relentless. But what if I told you that buried inside this very challenge, there's a breakthrough waiting for you? What if the thing that looks like it's holding you back is actually the thing that's going to push you forward? There's a story about two men both thrown into prison. One man looks out from behind the bars and sees only darkness, emptiness, hopelessness. He tells himself, this is it. My life is over. But the other man, he looks out through those same bars and he sees the stars. He sees the vastness of the sky, the hope beyond the walls. He starts to believe this isn't the end. This is just a chapter, and it's not where my story stops. Two men, same prison, same bars, but completely different futures. Not because of their circumstances, but because of their perspective. What you focus on grows. If you focus on what's wrong, you'll find more things to complain about. If you focus on what's possible, doors will begin to open. If you wake up every morning expecting defeat, you will live a defeated life. But if you wake up expecting victory, if you decide that no matter what comes your way, you will face it with faith, with strength, with determination, then, my friend, nothing can keep you down. This isn't just about positive thinking. This is about truth. History is filled with people who faced overwhelming odds, yet refused to be defined by them. A young boy told he wouldn't amount to anything became one of the greatest leaders of all time. A man who failed in business, lost multiple elections, and suffered deep personal loss became one of the most influential presidents in history. What made the difference? Perspective. They didn't see failure as final, they saw it as fuel. And that's the choice you have to make. Will you let the past dictate your future? Will you let setbacks define you? Or will you rise above them knowing that they are simply part of the journey? Maybe you're waiting for life to get easier before you start believing. Maybe you think, I'll change my attitude when things turn around for me. But that's not how it works. Your perspective shifts first, and then your life follows. You don't wait for joy to come. You choose joy now. You don't wait for the breakthrough to start believing. You start believing, and that's when the breakthrough happens. There are people sitting in this room right now who are on the edge of something great. You've been through struggles. You've been through storms. But deep down, you know there's more for you, and I'm here to tell you that there is. But it starts with you. It starts with how you choose to see your life from this moment forward. So what do you see? Bars or stars? People are always looking for a big breakthrough, some life-changing moment that will suddenly transform everything. They think if they just find the right opportunity, the right motivation, the right stroke of luck, their life will take off. But the truth is, real change doesn't happen in one dramatic moment. It happens in the small things. The choices you make every single day, the habits you build when no one is watching. That's what determines the direction of your life. Most people underestimate the power of small, consistent action. They think success comes from some grand, once-in-a-lifetime decision. But let me tell you something. It's not what you do once that matters. It's what you do daily. It's the things you repeat over and over that shape the person you become. Show me your habits and I'll show you your future. If you wake up every morning and complain about your problems, you're wiring yourself for negativity. If you start each day with gratitude, you're training your mind to see possibility. If you spend your evening scrolling mindlessly on your phone, you're feeding distraction. But if you spend them reading, learning, growing, You're building a foundation for something greater. It's not about making massive changes overnight. It's about doing the right things consistently, even when they seem small, even when they seem insignificant. A tiny shift repeated daily can create a massive transformation over time. You don't have to change everything all at once. Just start where you are. One better decision today than yesterday. One step forward. Think of a ship setting sail. If the captain shifts the course by just a few degrees, at first you barely notice the change. But over time, that small adjustment leads to a completely different destination. Your habits work the same way. You may not see the results right away, but if you stay on course, your life will end up in a completely different place. Some of you have dreams, goals, things you've been wanting to do for years, but you've been waiting for the perfect time. You tell yourself, when I have more energy, when I have more motivation, when life slows down, then I'll start. But let me tell you something. If you wait for motivation, you'll be waiting forever. Motivation comes and goes. It's unreliable, but discipline will carry you when motivation disappears. It's easy to show up when you feel inspired, but the real test is what you do when you don't feel like it, when it's uncomfortable, when no one's clapping for you, when there's no instant reward. That's when most people quit. But that's also when the breakthrough is coming. The ones who succeed aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who kept showing up day after day, even when they didn't see results yet. And the amazing thing is, once you start, momentum kicks in. At first it's hard. At first it feels like nothing is changing. But one day you look back and realize how far you've come. You realize that every little choice added up, that every day you showed up mattered. That's when you see the power of small habits. So what are you doing daily? What are the little choices you're making right now that will determine where you end up? Because whether you realize it or not, your habits are shaping you. Every moment you're becoming someone. The question is, are you becoming who you want to be? Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now. Start small. Stay consistent. And watch what happens. As fear is the number one thing that holds people back. It's the invisible chain that keeps people stuck, the silent voice that whispers, what if you fail? What if you're not good enough? What if you lose everything? And for too many, fear wins. It keeps them from taking the step they know they need to take. It keeps them from walking through doors that were meant for them. But hear me when I say this. Fear is a liar. It will tell you all the reasons why you can't, why you shouldn't, why it's too risky, too late, too impossible. But fear doesn't have power unless you give it power. You don't have to be controlled by fear. You don't have to let it dictate your decisions, your future, your destiny. Because here's the truth. Fear never leaves. But you can learn to move forward with it. You don't need the absence of fear to take action. You just need the courage to act despite it. So many people wait until they feel ready. They wait until the fear is gone before they take the first step. But that's not how it works. Fear doesn't disappear before you move. It disappears because you move. The only way to break fear's grip is to take action while you're afraid. The first time you spoke in front of a crowd, walked into a new job, took a leap of faith, you felt that fear, didn't you? But you did it anyway, and looking back, you realize it wasn't as terrifying as you thought. Fear is only as big as you let it be. The more you face it, the smaller it becomes. Some of you have dreams in your heart, ideas you've been holding on to, things you know you're supposed to do, but fear has kept you on the sidelines. You've told yourself, one day I'll start, one day when I have more confidence, one day when the fear is gone. But listen to me, one day is not on the calendar. If you keep waiting for fear to leave, you'll wait your entire life. The people who step into their calling, the ones who make an impact, the ones who change the world, they're not fearless. They just refuse to let fear stop them. You don't have to be perfect to begin. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to know every step before you take the first one. You just have to start. The moment you take action, fear loses its power. The moment you stop listening to its voice, it starts to fade. Fear loves to exaggerate. It tells you the worst case scenario, but rarely does that scenario ever come true. It convinces you that failure is final, but failure is just part of the process. The only real failure is never trying at all. Every successful person you admire has failed many times, but the difference is they didn't stop. They didn't let fear make their decisions for them. Maybe you're thinking, what if I try and it doesn't work? But let me ask you, what if it does? What if the step you take today leads to something greater than you ever imagined? What if your obedience to that small, quiet voice inside of you changes the entire course of your life? You won't know unless you step out. Fear is not your master. It does not control you. It does not define you. You were created for more than a life of hesitation, doubt, and regret. So don't wait until you feel ready, because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward in spite of it. The door is in front of you. It's been there all along. The only thing left to do is walk through it. The people you surround yourself with will shape the course of your life. You may not realize it, but every single person in your circle is either lifting you up or pulling you down. There's no such thing as a neutral relationship. Every conversation, every interaction, every connection is planting something in you, either seeds of faith, courage, and purpose, or seeds of doubt, fear, and complacency. Some people are stuck in the same place year after year, not because they don't have potential, not because they don't have talent, but because they are surrounded by the wrong voices. They listen to people who tell them to stay where they are, to play it safe, to not aim too high, and over time they start believing it. They start shrinking their dreams to fit the expectations of those around them. But hear me when I say this. You cannot go higher while staying connected to people who keep you low. You cannot step into your calling if you're constantly being pulled in the opposite direction. If you want to grow, if you want to step into the life you were meant for, you have to be intentional about who you allow to speak into you. You have to ask yourself, are the people in my life pushing me closer to my purpose, or are they keeping me from it? If every time you share an idea, a dream, a goal, someone is there to tear it down, you need to reconsider their place in your life. Not everyone can go where you're going, and that's okay. But you have to be willing to let go of what is holding you back. Some people keep toxic relationships because they're afraid of being alone. But let me tell you, being alone for a season is better than being surrounded by the wrong people for a lifetime. The right relationships will challenge you, inspire you, and call out the greatness in you. The wrong relationships will drain you, discourage you, and keep you stuck in cycles you were never meant to be in. You need people in your life who see what you cannot yet see in yourself. People who call you higher, who refuse to let you settle, who remind you of who you are when you forget. You need friends who push you forward, mentors who pour into you, voices that speak faith when you feel weak. Because the truth is, life will test you. There will be days when you feel like giving up. There will be moments when doubt creeps in. And in those moments, the voices around you will either strengthen your faith or feed your fears. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, by gossip, by small thinking, don't be surprised if your life feels heavy, if your vision feels clouded, if your dreams feel distant, because what you allow into your mind, into your heart, will eventually shape your reality. You cannot expect to live a life of boldness, faith, and purpose while keeping company with those who are comfortable in complacency. But when you surround yourself with people who believe, who push forward, who take action, something shifts. You start thinking differently, you start speaking differently, you start expecting more. And when you expect more, you step into more. Look at the people around you. Do they inspire you? Do they challenge you? Do they make you want to be better? Or are they keeping you in places you know you've outgrown? You have to be willing to walk away from anything that is keeping you from who you are meant to be. It may not be easy, but it will be worth it. Because when you surround yourself with the right people, you will start to see the right doors open. You will step into opportunities you never imagined. You will grow in ways you never thought possible. And you will realize that who you walk with determines where you end up. So choose wisely, because your future depends on it, as so many people are waiting for motivation to get started. They think if they just feel inspired enough, if the circumstances are just right, then they'll take action. But let me tell you the truth, motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. It's easy to feel excited in the beginning when the idea is fresh, when the goal is new. But what happens when that excitement fades? What happens when the hard days come, when progress feels slow, when the results don't show up as quickly as you'd like? That's when most people quit. Not because they aren't capable, not because they don't have what it takes, but because they were relying on motivation instead of discipline. Discipline is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. It's the ability to keep going even when you don't feel like it. It's the ability to stay focused even when distractions come. It's the ability to push forward when every part of you wants to turn back. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. And if you can master that, if you can train yourself to stay committed no matter how you feel in the moment, there is nothing that can stop you. The truth is, your feelings will lie to you. Your feelings will tell you to take it easy today, to put it off until tomorrow, to skip this one time. And before you know it, one skipped day turns into a week turns into a month, and suddenly you're right back where you started. That's why discipline is so powerful, because it allows you to move forward even when your feelings try to hold you back. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in life happen not when you feel strong, but when you push through in moments of weakness. It's in those moments when everything in you wants to quit, but you decide to take just one more step, and then another, and then another, and before you know it, you're further than you ever thought you could go. That's the power of discipline. Look at the most successful people in any area of life. It's not that they always feel motivated. It's not that they have some secret formula that others don't. It's that they made a decision to show up every single day, no matter what. They don't let distractions pull them off course. They don't let excuses stop them. They don't let temporary feelings dictate their long-term success. They stay the course. And in today's world, distractions are everywhere. There's always something trying to steal your focus, something trying to pull you away from what truly matters. If you don't take control of your time, if you don't take control of your focus, life will pull you in 100 different directions. And you'll wake up one day wondering why you never reached the potential inside of you. That's why you have to be intentional. You have to decide what matters most and give it your full attention. You cannot afford to waste your time on things that don't bring you closer to your purpose. You cannot afford to spend your energy on things that drain you instead of build you. If you want to live the life you were created for, you have to develop the discipline to stay focused. You have to learn to say no to distractions, no to excuses, no to anything that tries to pull you off track. And when you do that, when you commit to showing up every single day, something powerful happens. You start to build momentum. You start to see progress. You start to develop the habits that lead to success. And the more disciplined you become, the easier it gets. Because discipline, just like anything else, is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. So stop waiting to feel motivated. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for things to get easier. Start now. Stay focused. Be disciplined. And watch what happens when you refuse to give up. Life is short. We hear it all the time, but do we really live like we believe it? Too many people go through life as if they have all the time in the world, as if they can put off their purpose, their calling, their dreams until a later time. They keep saying, one day I'll start, one day I'll get serious, one day I'll make a change. But what if one day never comes? What if the opportunity you have right now is the only chance you'll get? Because the truth is, none of us are promised tomorrow. None of us know how much time we have, and that's why we have to live with urgency. That's why we have to make the decision to step into our calling now. Not later, not when it's more convenient, not when we feel more ready, but now. So many people live as if they have time to waste. They push aside the things that matter and spend their days caught up in distractions, in busyness, in things that won't even matter a year from now. They hold on to bitterness, grudges, things that weigh them down. They waste energy on worry, on fear, on things they can't even control. But if they truly understood how short life is, they wouldn't live that way. They wouldn't let small things steal their joy. They wouldn't let fear keep them from moving forward. They wouldn't waste a single moment on things that don't align with their purpose. What are you waiting for? What's keeping you from stepping fully into what you are meant to do? Because every moment you delay, every time you put it off for another day, you are losing time that you will never get back. The world is waiting. There are people you were meant to impact, lives you were meant to touch, things only you can do. But if you don't take action, if you keep waiting for some perfect moment that will never come, those things may never happen. People think they have to wait until everything in their life is in order before they step forward. They think they need more preparation, more resources, more certainty. But let me tell you, the perfect conditions will never come. If you're always waiting for everything to line up just right, you'll never move. The ones who step into their destiny are the ones who decide to go even when they don't have it all figured out. They trust that the path will become clear as they walk. They understand that taking the first step is what opens the next door. Some people think, I'll start when I feel stronger, when I feel more confident, when I feel ready. But you don't feel your way into action, you act your way into confidence. You step forward in faith, and as you do, you become stronger. As you do, you start to see the way unfold. But if you let time pass without action, if you keep waiting, all you'll have at the end of your life are regrets. Regrets for the chances you didn't take, the opportunities you ignored, the time you wasted on things that didn't matter. Right now, today, you have a choice. You can keep living the same way you always have, putting things off, making excuses, waiting for some future moment to finally start. Or you can decide that today is the day everything changes. You can decide that from this moment on, you will live with purpose. You will wake up every day knowing your time is valuable. You will stop wasting your energy on things that don't matter and start pouring yourself into what does. Because at the end of your life, it won't matter how much money you made, how many things you owned, how successful the world thought you were. What will matter is the impact you made. What will matter is how you lived, how you loved, what you gave, and who you became. So live fully. Live with urgency. Live like this moment is the only one you've got. Because one day you'll look back, and the only thing you'll wish is that you had started sooner.